People are now only caring about the results. Most of these agency owners, most of these business owners, CEOs, all these people, everything that's going on in this ecosystem right now, this is what they really care about. Only care about. Why? Because of how fast things are moving. The landscape, everything is just changing every week. These leaders, these people that lead these companies and businesses and everything like that, they only care about one thing, and that is the results. Are you constantly giving me the right results? Do you have the right mindset to always give me what I want? That is where their minds are at. So what we have today is we are understanding the language of automation thinkers. There's a huge shift. Like I said before, people are now only caring about the results. Clients to show off your work, your prototype, your this, your that. If you think you're going to get into this business without real experience, real failures, you have to go through them real business failures to actually make it here. Freelancing on the side while going to school, completely different story. So we're going to be talking about automation thinkers because it's going to be more about how you think about these things. That's just the game now. All right, that's just the game now. That's how I'm realizing. That's my opinion. If you don't think that, then let me know in the comments what it really is. But understanding the language of automation thinkers. Now, when I talk about this, I am specifically talking about tools that are like NAN, which NAN is probably my favorite out of all of these, even though I haven't really dived into the rest. But there's make.com, which is, I see it as like the simpler version, but still powerful. Zapier, which is, I would say, like the foundation where everything started, unless there was already NAM before that, but I'm pretty sure Zapier was first. And then Agency Kit, which is the new release that ChatGPT just did. And we're going to be talking about that in future videos, but we're definitely going to be touching on that in this video, because that right there, if you are aware of what's going on right now, a lot of things are headed our way. So let's begin. Number one, why learning the terminology of AI builders is no longer optional if you are getting into AI. Okay, no longer. If you're really trying to build profit, do this, go crazy. It's no longer optional to not know. You have to know these things. Okay, so number one, understanding systems creates compound time. Every process you automate buys back hours. Keep that in mind. Every process that you automate in anything buys back you hours. It might have taken you, not even hours, it could be 30 minutes. You might have needed a transcript for all these videos. Combine all those transcripts so you can get a full understanding of whatever it is in short form. If you want to do that manually, you'd have to go through every single video, get the transcript, type in ChatGPT, yo, do this for me. But if you're thinking an automation wise and setting yourself up so you don't really need to grab those transcripts, you can probably do it in one click. Grab me 5 transcripts of this video from the top, 5 people covering these topics off of one click, and then, automatically gives you that. And you don't really need to put anything in. Obviously, you just have to type in the LLM what you want, but you can do that through prompt engineering, just having prompts ready for that, which is something I'm always going to be talking about in this channel. Prompts that you can use to just get started, or just, have in the back end of whatever, so you can just have things going at all times. Just, specific framework prompts I'm working on that I'm going to be displaying for you guys in the future. But understanding systems compound over time. That's basically what it is. People that don't understand this language will keep trading time for tasks. Number two, this lingo is the new currency. When you're networking with people that are also in this whole entire space, knowing this language is going to give you credibility. It sharpens your creativity when you actually understand all of these things like APIs and what we're going to be talking about. If you actually know what they are, then you start thinking differently. You just start, oh, that's what it is. So that means I could do this and that, and maybe this and that. That's what you start thinking. Bro, it lands you in a room where saying these things, saying these ideas can land you like great opportunities. If someone finds you like valuable, like, oh, he knows about this. Oh, whoa, he knows about that as well. Yo, low key, I want to talk to that person. That's where you get that, in these meetings, things like that. That's where it is. So this lingo is the new currency if you think about it. Number three, businesses are specifically hiring automation thinkers. So basically what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. Like, yo, these businesses are not thinking, yo, okay, so he knows how to connect this and that and this and that. Yo, programmers were doing that the whole time, right? Programmers, that was their whole thing, and that's what they used to put on their resumes. Now most of these companies are hiring people that already know, you know what I mean, already know how to do all this, but at the same time they are telling you this is the results you're about to get, this is the time you're about to save. Like, this is what they're looking for, because that's exactly what's on their mind. These are automation thinkers, in my opinion. So yeah, number one really, APIs. That's what we're going to be first covering. APIs. I ain't gonna lie, when I first started learning about all this AI stuff, building for workflows and stuff like that, APIs was like, what the hell is that? I didn't know what that was, and I seen it all the time online and everything like that. I never really understood the meaning. API stands for application programming interface. So APIs exist so software can connect, and I have a little photo as you can see. Software can connect, share, and act without you ever touching a button. They remove the manual labor, no logging in, no copy pasting, no exports. It's basically a digital bridge that lets two apps talk to each other automatically with no human involvement. And I use this one example. Think of it like a waiter at a restaurant. The customer, your app, the app that you're using, places an order. Then the kitchen, the other platform server, prepares what you asked for. Then the waiter, which is the API, carries the order between the two, clean, structured, no confusion. You know what I mean? Like, you order something, kitchen, it's not like the kitchen talk to you. You're in the kitchen, the people cooking the food, they ain't talk to you. They didn't say, yo, you want it like well done? No, they didn't say any of that. The waiter did, the API. So that's basic understanding. Like, as soon as you understand it, like, I heard that from the people that I was trying to learn this from at the beginning, I would have been like, oh, word. Types of APIs. So there's different types of APIs, and there's a lot of them, but we're just gonna cover a few. Now, one is very common, the REST API. Now this is the standard for how most platforms exchange data. So for example, it sends data from your CRM, which is like a list of your leads, your outbound, everything like that, your data. It sends them to your CRM, to your Google Sheets automatically. So your CRM, your whole list, whatever it was, into your Google automatically. So you could have a whole list. Say you had a whole lead of people from your outbound calls. Say you had a Calendly. It's essentially like the backbone of everything. Like, almost every modern tool uses this. HubSpot, Spotify, Airtable, which I just actually found out about. ClickUp. There's a bunch of them. They use REST APIs. These are like the foundation. So you can either extract or send data anywhere. That's what REST APIs are. You're extracting it, or you can send it. And then the webhook API, and this is even more important, it sends real-time alerts when something happens. So example, new form submitted, instantly ping to the Slack or Discord. So another form of REST API, but REST API kind of comes after. Webhook is literally the real-time alerts. Webhook APIs, now the way to think about this is like speed. Like, it's the fast thing. Instead of waiting, like maybe you have to wait 10 minutes. A REST API usually takes a while to actually get everything out. A webhook will send real-time info, like immediately, pings you immediately, notifies you immediately. When an event happens, when a specific something happens, that's when it ping you. No delay, no refresh. That's the best way to think of a webhook API. Not webhook completely, even though it is. That's what a webhook API specifically is. And how this is used in conversations. So to say to your team or networkers when talking about APIs, you can say, I've been connecting APIs between tools like Airtable, Slack, Typeform to automate lead handoffs. It's wild how much time you can save once every system starts talking to each other. And it's true. Like, I've said that before. That's a sentence I've said. And, that's how you use it. That's the lingo. Number 2 is nodes. Now, this is something I actually had no idea what they were. I had an idea, but I was like, what are nodes? When I first started this whole thing. So you don't need to be an automator. Like, you don't have to be a crazy programmer nowadays. So understanding this, you're gonna have to understand what nodes are, real quick. And it's not long. I'm not gonna make this too long. Nodes the purpose of nodes. Nodes are the building blocks of every automation workflow. Each node represents one specific action or step, like sending an email, adding a row to a Google Sheet, or posting to Slack. And to give you an example of what it looks like, all of these blocks you see right here, those are all nodes. So this trigger right here, this little arrow I have, that's a node. The blocks, all these blocks right here, those are like the workflow steps basically. So whenever someone says you got to add a node here, you got to add a node there, a specific node, they'll say a specific node. It's what they mean. So there's types of nodes. So types of nodes, number one, a trigger node. So at the beginning, you see a trigger right here. That starts the workflow when something happens. And then the action node performs a task using data. So after the trigger is the Airtable. It performs, basically. That's all it is. There's other trigger nodes that are inside the action nodes. Like you can have an action node with a trigger node. So a get from here, it says YouTube, get a channel, and then instantly it goes to loop here. And loop is an action node, and is also a trigger node because it triggers a bunch of places. It's a looping node, so it goes around. You know what I'm saying? It's a trigger. So one time around, and then another time around, and then another. You know what I mean? It's a loop. So yeah, another way to think of it. But number 3, webhooks. Like we covered before with the webhook APIs, I do want to deep dive into what webhooks actually are. So the purpose of a webhook are instant messengers between apps, like we explained. And to think of APIs, like they usually just question one thing, like, all right, so APIs, you put it in a YouTube connected to an NAN, then it's like, all right, cool. What are you trying to do here? They might ask you a question like, what are you actually trying to do here? You know what I mean? You got to have an API key for that. Webhooks instantly, like it's just, you don't need no APIs. You don't need just webhooks. They're webhooks. You put them in instantly, speed, all that. They keep your automations alive and responsive at all times, 24/7, without, constant delays, checking on it all the time. They're just like your big bros. They always got your back, you know what I mean? Webhooks always got your back. So you can think of it like a doorbell. I don't know why I use the example, but think of it like a doorbell. Someone presses the button, someone presses it. Sound rings instantly. Data is sent. So someone pressed the doorbell instantly. The doorbell rings, right? Someone presses it. Okay, my fault. I don't know why that is there again. I don't think anything was actually supposed to go after that. Okay, so just pretend like nothing's there, because honestly, that's all it is. Someone presses it and then it rings it out. That's what a webhook does. Types of webhooks though. You got the incoming webhook. It receives the data from another platform. Example, when a form is submitted, the webhook catches the info, right? That is an incoming webhook. But then there's outgoing webhooks, which sends data to another platform. So example of this is, once processed, the webhooks send data to Slack or email or Gmail. So it goes from here to there and it sends data. So you could say I used a webhook trigger node to kick off the workflow when a new submission hits Typeform. You can say this to team members, the workers that you're working with, networkers, things like that. You can say that to them and they'll understand what you're saying. It'll give you more credibility. It'll give you more, like, you know what you're doing. Okay, you use the webhook because, all right, I understand what you're doing. All right. They're going to be like that, I promise you. And then the other one is, we'll set up a webhook so every time someone fills out your form, your CRM/Slack get the info instantly. You can say this to clients. Now you don't have to say it to clients again. You don't have to mention the word webhook. You can just be like, we're going to get something, or we're going to get this hook. You can just keep it like that. We're going to get this hook that's basically going to keep this and that into one thing. I'm going to send this into there, or it's going to receive this, and from here. It's what it is. So number 4. Now this is something I really wanted to cover, because when I hopped into this whole space, did not know what this was. People kept on saying, oh, you gotta understand this, you gotta understand the JSON, you gotta understand the JSON. I'm like, what are you on? What is that? What is JSON? And then turns out it is the JavaScript object notation. So I didn't even hopefully I put the photo after this, but the purpose of a JSON, it's how apps send store, and read information between each other in automation workflows. Every time a webhook fires or an API runs, it usually sends data in JSON format, clean, structured, and readable by both humans and machines. So an example of this is what we see right here. This is an example of a JSON. It has everything. So it shows the name and then my actual name, which is Ray Nadal. That's my real name. I don't know why I put that, but that is my real name. So it shows the name, which is Ray. This is me. Email, and then the service. So this whole thing is a JSON code. Why knowing this really matters? Trust me, it does matter in a sense where it's like, for now at least, it really does matter. If you can read JSON, if you can understand what's happening under the hood of every automation, you're already up here where programmers are. Like, programmers already knew about all this. You're already here if you understand what's going on. If you can cover all this, you feel me? And we're gonna break down, if you know how to read these things, if you understand what they are, put you above whenever teaching or whenever explaining your work to maybe networking with other people, like I said before, or clients, which you don't really need to know this for clients, but yeah, you'll know what data is being sent, where it's going, and how to extract the exact piece you need. Like, you'll know exactly what to put in. It's so powerful once you know this. Your vibe code sessions, all of this will just 10 times easier, 10 times more, fulfilling in a way. So to go through all of these, the JSON language, we have number one, the object. So you'll see, what do you call these? Not parentheses, but yeah, I feel stupid for not knowing. Brackets, not brackets, like the squiggly brackets, whatever. This is the object. It holds your data together. Everything starts and ends inside these curly braces. That's what it's called, curly braces. That's what it's called, man. I don't know why I call it curly braces, but it's like curly braces, like, all right, whatever. Curly braces. This is what. Hold on, is it called curly braces? Okay, so apparently I just searched it up. They call it curly brackets, so it's actually kind of like I was close. But number two, the array. So these are the actual brackets, and they store multiple items under one category, like a group of related objects. So you'll see this. We're gonna cover up the examples. Actually, I'm pretty sure I have everything in here, so we'll cover up the examples. But that's what it is. It's like a group. The brackets are usually for a group of things. So the key, the label. This is the label. So names of each piece of data, and you can see where I put the example here. You have email. The email is the label. What it is. You should know what the label is. I'm pretty sure you know what a label is. So that is the key. And then number two, the value, which is the actual information that the label points to. So right here at the left side, you have image name. On the right side, also image name. On the right side is the value. So image name, my image PNG. That's what it actually is. Image data. And then it gives you a bunch of, that's the actual, data. Whenever you see parentheses in this, and then you see a colon mark, and then you see that's what the value is, right? So explaining this is like thinking like this in this way whenever you're networking with other people, whenever you're talking to clients, so you don't have to actually say this, but explaining yourself when you're doing this is hugely beneficial. So when it comes all together, this is what it looks like, so this is the right here, this is the object, you feel me? You got the object right here, the parentheses, as you can see, this is the key, this is the label, and then colon mark here, you have another bracket, and then it goes to here. So it'll go from here to name, user to name, and then my name, which is the value. See, name, value. Let me roll in. You know what I'm saying? User, curly bracket, name, value. Emails, value. So value, oh shoot. And then verified, true. Now the blue part, this right here, that is a value. So, basic understanding of it. Don't have to understand everything now. Like, for programmers, I really do feel bad because I didn't know any of this like a month ago, honestly. But now I know. Now I can teach it. Now I can actually understand it, what it means, all that. Took 2 seconds, and I can actually create time for me learning other things instead of this. It's a huge, like, where we're moving, bro. If you're not using AI, I guess. Number 5, this is the last thing we're covering, NCPs. And bro, I'm covering this simply because of ChatGPT. You are going to want to understand what NCPs are right now. Model Context Protocols. Now, to cover everything. I already have the photo there, great. But the purpose of it is NCPs are the language of AI systems. Now think of that. They define how AI models like to connect, communicate, and exchange data with tools, apps, and real world systems. So here you see my little photo I have right here. ChatGPT meets custom SMP. I said SMPs, what the heck? MCPs. And it basically say if you want a Notion, you want to connect Notion, which is like if you don't know what Notion is, it's like a notebook app where you can keep all your notes in. And you want to pull out data, specific data that you have in Notion to ChatGPT so you can use it for whatever you're trying to prompt out. You can now do that. That is NCP. It connects apps between apps, AI from apps basically. So ChatGPT itself is an AI tool that you can use. You can now connect Notion along with that. It's kind of like an API inside the app. It's like, it's crazy what's happening, but knowing this really matters. If you understand NCPs, you understand how AI actually does things. Just before what just went down, ChatGPT was basically blind to whatever you actually had going on. They didn't know exactly your data. They didn't know exactly what you were working on inside Notion that matters so much, but now they can pull data from there and be like, oh, okay, so this is exactly what you're doing. This is huge. This is huge. So and that's what it does. What ChatGPT allows you to do right now, it pulls live data from your workplace tools, like I said before, runs code or workflows in real time, so you can literally tell them, oh yeah, I have this and that and this. It can run a whole code for you, and then it can access connected sources like Drive, Slack, Notion, can access all these things. So that's now possible, and the fact that it is crazy. So that's what NCPs are. And yeah, in summary, everything that we covered, I want you guys to think of it in this way, because this is a great way to think of it, in my opinion. So number one, APIs. This is the connection layer. This is where you connect everything, one app from another, one thing to another. Allows apps to talk to each other, to keep it blunt. Number two, webhooks. And I'm pretty sure I had this next. The trigger layer reacts instantly when events happen. We covered it. It's all about speed. Number three, JSON, the data layer, defines how information is structured and exchanged. You saw the format I gave you. You saw exactly what it looks like. That's what the JSON scripts look like. Number four, nodes. Yeah, this was number two, bro. I don't know why it's whatever. Workflow layer, visual building blocks that define automation logic. We showed you what the nodes look like. That's what a node is. Pretty simple. Not much to go over. Number five, now I put this on ChatGPT. For some reason, they put data flow. I never included data flow. Don't know where they got that from, but that should be but that shouldn't be there. It should just be NCPs, because that was the last one. The AI context layer enables AI models like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini to connect direct tools, data sources, and automations through unified protocols. What we covered, best way to put everything in perspective. The AI context layer, I do like how that sounds. That is basically like, it gives you, understanding this language now is essential. You have to understand it to actually, talk to these people, actually be informative. If you don't know what you're talking about and you be like, oh, what's that? They're gonna be like, yo, bro, go back to the lab, understand what it means. And you can watch this video over and over again. Now I'm gonna make a second part to this. This is not like the last video I'm making for this terminology, because I did not cover everything. Obviously, not everything was covered. This is gonna be a part series. It's not gonna be too long, because it's not too many terminology, vocabulary words you need to know for all of this. So these are kind of like the basics that you should know now moving forward. I'm gonna cover other things like MVPs, things like that, just making sure you guys understand exactly all these AI languages. Whenever you hear these people talk about it in these videos, you'll know exactly what they're talking about. That's the whole point of it. For a while, bro, like I didn't understand any of it. Like I was just like, what are webhooks? What are APIs? What's the JSON? Like I didn't understand it. So now understanding it, now knowing what it means, all that, widely beneficial. Especially since I'm a big especially when I actually started beginning doing this, like I knew all of it. So it helped me huge with opportunities building. So that's the whole video, guys. If you enjoyed, I do appreciate it if you just quickly leave a like on the video. That'll be huge, man. That'll be huge. You don't even gotta subscribe. If you don't like seeing my face, you don't gotta subscribe. I don't, you know what I mean? Keep your subscription. It's okay. I like the video for your boy. If this helped, if you actually understand everything now, or got a clear maybe a clear understanding. If you already understood it and just kind of got like a clear understanding, a like will be appreciated. But yo, my name is Ray. I am going to be making thousands of videos just covering AI, covering what's happening in NAN, agency, kit, Zapier, what's going on in the AI phase. I'm building out my own AI tools. You feel me? Like I'm trying to get into this whole thing. I'm currently doing some freelancing work. Now I am currently working on a Discord server for all of us to just connect, get to know one of each other, and just combine ideas, maybe network and create our own thing. I do want to network with everyone, with anybody, anybody that maybe is a beginner, don't have anyone to actually connect with. I know exactly how that feels, not having anyone to talk to, just talk to about life. Honestly, like if you want to just talk about life with me or anyone that is in the community, then you can do that here. And I want it to be more of a safe space for anyone that's trying to be vulnerable, trying to talk about the struggles, exactly what they're going through. Free space, nothing, like I don't want to have this be paid or anything. Like this Discord server, I want it completely free, completely value driven and serious, to the point where you can goof off, you can talk about whatever, your ex cheated on you and you're doing this to get her back. Oh, I don't care, bro. But like, at least be productive, give out value, always try to network, be kind. I don't like any assholes, like crazy ass. I hate them. And all that, man. I'm building out this community. I built out a community before, a free community with someone else. It worked out well, and I think this one will work even better because I am now in this chapter in my life. I'm 21. I'm about to be 22. It's all about business. You know what I mean? It's all about business. I see where things are headed and just where my mind is at right now. I'm basically in monk mode, I guess you could say, but I'm really not. I'm just on my shit now, and I just want to get things out the way. I want to connect with as many people as possible. I want to travel. I want to just do all type of stuff. So that's what we doing, man. 2026, we moving crazy. 2 more months till 2026 is insane. And this year has definitely been my most productive, definitely been my most painful, and I cover that extensively on my Patreon, where I'm documenting my whole journey from $0 to 100K right now as we speak. Easily the most painful years of my life, but so much value I gained, so much intellect, so much connections. It's a blessing. But hope each and every one of you take care of yourselves, get cracking on this AI stuff. So wow, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. This ride. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.